The secret ground at Oak Ridge. Arrival, rumor, and the first machine. April 12, 1943. Oak Ridge, Tennessee. A ridge of scrub and pines 30 miles west of Knoxville. Fog still clinging to the hollows as the sun climbs. You step out of a blacked-out bus and the cold bite. Your breath puffs in the air, and somewhere down the road there's the low, constant thrum of engines and generators. A sound that will come to define this place before anyone outside knows why. Men in overcoats move like shadows between newly raised barrels. A guard in a pressed army uniform shoulders a Thompson and scans the perimeter with a flat, expressionless stare. The smell is fresh-cut timber and coal smoke, diesel, and the metallic tang of raw copper in the open air. Everything feels temporary and urgent. Major General Leslie R. Groves stands on a wooden platform by the entrance to the new plant, face drawn, hands deep in gloves. He is the man the War Department sent with a single instruction: make the impossible possible and keep it so secret that even a neighbor would not get. Groves speaks in clipped sentences, the cadence of a career officer who understands logistics down to the last bolt. Beside him, in a rumpled suit with a pocket filled with rolled-up diagrams, is Dr. Ernest O. Lawrence carries a cigarette despite the cold. His fingers are stained with oil and the faint ash of someone who thinks in machine. He talks quickly about calatrons and magnetic fields, about the need to pull slivers of U-235 out of the muddle and turn them into something the war has never seen. Around them, huge, anonymous buildings, tagged only by letters and numbers, rise like an industrial beat. K25, Y12 is 50. Each name is deliberately obscured, a falsehood designed to be believed. You walk through a gate stamped with a brass plaque that reads, Clinton Engineer Works, and the lie begins to feel real. Men in civilian coveralls call each other by first names and nicknames, but file folders are stamped top secret in red that seems to vibrate on the page. Workers wheel carts of copper bar. Technicians in goggles thread enamel-coated wire through coil, and the air itself hum, a pregnant electrical hum that resonates through boots and bone. Inside the Y12 Calitron Hall, banks and banks of cyclotrons glow and spin. They are monstrous, polished ovals of copper and steel, each a household-sized instrument that consumes more electricity than a small town. Operators in blue uniforms tend to dials and vacuum pump, watching indicators like priests watching all. The calatrons will become the first machines to isolate enriched uranium on a scale that matters. It is not glamour, but industry. The slow, patient arithmetic of enrichment, centrifuge by centrifuge, hour by hour. Security at Oak Ridge is a choreography of suspicion. Guards check papers, barracks are assigned by serial number, and mail goes through censorship. You cannot bring a camera. You cannot ask a neighbor where they work and expect a straight. Groves has ordered deception at every turn. False sign, make-war project, a scattering of contractors who will swear to any. Women in the mess speak in the low, conspiratorial language of those who know how quickly a rumor can fly. They exchange stories of locked rooms and nights where a bright light will sweep across the hill and men in civilian cars will be escorted to unknown destinations. The town has no name on map, only an area code and a dotted line. People refer to it in whispers as the camp or the works. Outsiders who wander too close are turned away with explanations about fertilizer plants and order. The truth is surgical and absolute. Here, the nation is building the first practical path to split the atom. On the other side of the Atlantic, German intelligence. It's a beware and diplomatic channel. Pieces together less and less. There are reports of new American and increasing power consumption in the Tennessee Valley. But the files arrive as fragments. A merchant's ledger, a satellite photograph with nothing but roof, a diplomat's vague note that the Americans are accelerating something in dust. Those fragments, when stitched, do not form picture. The Reich's best agents are busy in Europe and North Africa, and their signals intercepts are drowned by the sound of Allied convoys and radio chat. Even Berlin's calculated optimism, the propaganda that assures the German people of ultimate victory, leaves little room for entertaining a buried American mirror. Back in Oak Ridge, ordinary people become extraordinary keepers of secrets. A machinist named Tom, a nickname turned personal identity for a stoic man from Ohio, learns to sleep with a constant drone. He dreams in copper coils and wakes at dawn to the smell of coffee and oil. A young woman, Mary, who once worked in a textile mill, now operates a control panel with the precision of a watchman. She measures and records, believed to be doing nothing more than supporting the war industry. She knows only that the dials must not be wrong. They are all part of a vast human machine. Clerks, cooks, electricians, engineers, scientists who rarely meet, and yet together make a city that no one living there may fully understand. At night, The plant's outline is a scar of light against the hardwood. Conveyors continue. Calatrons keep their slow, magnetic whisper. The engineers talk in isolated bursts about enrichment curves and throughput, but they rarely say the word bomb in public. It would be a sacrilege to name the thing until it exists. And Groves knows secrecy requires language not only of silence, but of deliberate misdirection. The letterheads read Clinton Engineer Works, the payrolls are padded with phantom projects, and the town's wiring is laid to make the place look like any other wartime factory if the wrong plane ever photographed. Yet beneath the hum and the guarded smiles, there's a current of urgency, a kind of electric impatience. Every extra day of production, every % of enrichment gain narrows the window between possibility and reality. When Groves walks the halls, he translates that urgency into order. More power, more machines, more secrecy. And the machines oblige, spinning and clanking like an industrial heart learning to beat faster. For those who work here, victory is not yet a word. It is the steady increase in enriched output logged in a thin ledger on a technician's desk. But outside the fences, among foreign ears that listen closely, and in Berlin's cold rooms of analysis, no echo yet forms into an alarm. The Germans will not believe what they cannot imagine. A city built not for tanks or aircraft, but for the patient chemistry and physics of splitting the atom itself. When the revelation finally arrives, it will not be a whisper, but a thunderclap. For now, Oak Ridge keeps its watch, and its watchers keep their quiet. Berlin, late summer 1944. The office of the Abwehr is half-lit, cigarette smoke curling through staleness. On a desk strewn with dispatches and coded intercepts, Colonel Eric Kitzinger leans forward, studying a blurred reconnaissance photo. The image shows rows of long rectangular buildings somewhere in the Tennessee Valley. Too neat, too deliberate to be accidental. He flips the photo under a magnifying glass. Nothing unusual. Just warehouses, rail sidings, water tower. But something about the symmetry, the way the power lines cluster into one direction, unsettles him. Across from him, a wiry signals officer reads aloud from a report captured from American trade records. Electricity consumption across certain southern states has tripled in less than a year. Factories, the man offers. Aircraft production, perhaps. The file is stamped, archived, and forgotten. Somewhere under it lies a thin sheet of paper dated April 1945, an Allied communique describing a test in the New Mexico desert. But by the time any German officer sees it, the test will have already happened. And when it does, the shock will not come as a report, but as a blinding flash seen across the world, the day the atom proved real. July 16, 1945, Alamogordo, New Mexico. The Jornada del Muerto, Journey of the Dead, stretches wide under a black desert sky. 1,000 miles from Oak Ridge, the same secrecy breathes in the sand. Trucks idle in the dark, headlights hooded. Men in heavy coats murmur beside equipment crates, checking meters and cables that snake across the ground toward a steel tower that looks fragile against the vastness of the base. The tower's heart glows faint, lit from below by floodlight. Inside a steel sphere rests a weapon known only by its code, the gadget. Physicist J. Robert Oppenheimer stands with his hands clasped behind his back, lips pressed tight. His mind is divided between calculation and conscience. Around him are other ghosts of Oak Ridge. Engineers who refined the uranium, physicists who worked in Los Alamos on plutonium implosion, and military officers who ensure no one speaks above a whisper. The air smells of oil, desert dust, and ozone. A countdown begins. Somewhere far behind the observation, General Grove lowers his binocular. We'll know in seconds whether the last 3 years were genius or madness, he mutters. The final numbers echo in the dark. 10, each man holds his breath. Oppenheimer turns his face away and murmurs a line for the Bhagavad Gita that will soon become history. Now, I am become death, the destroyer of worlds. The flash arrives first, white, so bright that night collapses into day. For one searing instant, shadows burn into the desert floor. Then comes the sound, a rolling concussion that bends the air and shakes windows 100 miles away. A mushroom cloud climbs like something alive, the color of molten metal and ash, climbing higher, higher still. Men who witness it weep without knowing why. Others cheer, stunned by power. Back in Oak Ridge, power plants flicker as the last surges of current flow into machines now no longer. The enrichment halls stand silent for the first time. Operators who once worked double shifts stare at their idle gauges and wonder what all. They do not yet know that part of what they built, refined, purified and packed, will soon vaporize a city across the Pacific. In Berlin's ruins, what remains of German intelligence receives the first radio intercept. New bomb, incredible destructive power. The reports are too vague to believe. Surely the Americans are exaggerating. No single weapon could level an entire city. But by early August, reality crushes all denial. Hiroshima is gone. Nagasaki followed. The same stunned silence that filled the desert now fills rooms in Tokyo and Berlin. The German scientists who once mocked Allied physics stare at grainy photos of flattened city. Werner Heisenberg, safe in the Black Forest, reads a captured newspaper and says softly, "So, they did it. The dream they chased in theory, splitting the atom for the right, has been realized by those they underestimated most." And thousands of miles away, in that once anonymous valley, the people of Oak Ridge gather at the fence line. They've heard whispers. The war may end soon. The project succeeds. Some celebrate. Some simply stare at the hill. For 3 years, they built a secret city, never knowing its true purpose. A city that changed the course of history without ever appearing on it. The hum of the Calitron fades into memory. The workers disperse. The fence is steady, and Oak Ridge, the quiet birthplace of a new and terrible age.